morning, friends. Happy Thursday, June 8th. Crystal here from Find Your Road Home with today's 3-card reading. Please remember, the first card, it's always for you. The second card, it's always for someone else. That someone else might be a stranger, a friend, or a loved one. And the third card is always something to remember or watch for. It is often an opportunity. All right, so we are on the downhill slide, friends. Downhill slide into the weekend. Whoop, whoop. And are you ready? Are you ready for today's cards? Okay. Okay, the card for you today, the card for you is, drumroll please, Earn. Earn is the message from God Universe that we've been trekking along. We've been working really hard. We've been staying focused. We've been reminding ourselves that we're on the dirt road and life is a journey. And so everything may not always be easy. And we've just been really paying attention and we've been really aware. Well, God Universe wants us to know that they've been trying to pat us on the back and we haven't been noticing. And we've been kind of feeling discouraged that nobody's noticing how hard we're working. We're working so hard. Why isn't anyone seeing how hard we're working? Why isn't anyone telling me how great I'm doing? I need to hear how great I'm doing. I need external validation. Does that sound familiar? It does sound familiar to me. Like, for the longest time, that was me, because my mom did such a good job when I was growing up of always telling me how proud she was and blah, blah, blah. So when I went through the time period of breaking away from my mom and there was no one telling me what a great job I was doing all the time, like, I guess you assume you're not doing a great job anymore. And all of a sudden you're like doing a crappy job, even if you're not doing a crappy job. But you think you're doing a crappy job because nobody's telling you you're doing a good job. So deep breath. Must be a little airy today. You're doing a great job. And this is the sign from God Universe. Pay attention to those little itty bitty tiny synchronicities. Like, seriously, it's the little tiny signs. And if you're not already making a list of signs that are important for you, start making them. Like signs that your loved one is near, signs that you've done a good job, signs that you need to pay attention and undo something. Like, there are signs for everything. Start keeping a little journal. Maybe one of those little itty bitty notebooks that fit inside your purse or your pocket. Like, those are great. Or even better, technology age, duh. Maybe we should use the notes on our phone. Like, whatever works for you. But just make notes of those little synchronicities, because as you make notes of them, they give you more. And so then you get more pats on the back more frequently, and you don't need anyone else telling you how great you are. Sorry, Mom. You just need to pay attention to the little itty bitty signs from the universe. And then it's like this constant walking on a cloud, like, wow, I'm doing this great job. Okay, so Earn is a green go. it's a yellow freeway. So once we start recognizing these signs and we start doing what I say, we start writing them down, we start acknowledging them and that they exist, we're going to get so many more of them. And those signs really will help you almost immediately clear a hurdle. Like, it's that instant, like, oh, I got this. Okay. And like, all of a sudden you'll have that extra energy to get over that really high boundary that you've been trying to get over. Like, think obstacle course. Okay. It is a future. And of course, it's an air. So this one, again, journaling. I mean, I already said journal. That's air. So writing it down, making note. Can you tell someone that you saw it? Sure, absolutely. But when you tell someone something, are you going to remember it later? Like, can you turn back to it and remember that that happened? Maybe if you're not as old as I am now, I need to write it down. Writing it down helps make the connection in my brain. It doesn't do as good of a job anymore. So now I need to write it down so I can also go back to it later. So yeah, age sucks. Okay, so air. All right. Are you ready for the next card? The card for someone else today. Please remember, someone else is a stranger, friend, or loved one, can be also us. Okay. This one's a toll, but you don't need to sit down for it, okay? So today the card for someone else is East, okay? East. And East is just a reminder from God Universe that while they're giving us pats on the back and telling us we're doing a great job, there's still some things we could use to do to improve our outcomes, okay? One of those things is process. East is all about organization, rules, process. It's about the East, okay? I want you to think Washington, D.C., and setting all of those rules, okay? That, to me, is what the East is all about. So that's what this is all about today. So what processes, how can you organize yourself? How can you get things so that it might be a little smoother? It's a yellow yield, so we're supposed to slow down and think about it. We might have to move some things around, okay? We might even have to write something down, still journaling, okay? It is a toll if we don't do this. If we do it, no toll, okay? If we don't do this and look at our processes and look at our organization and look at our system, I feel like it's telling us or our friend that we don't have a system and you need to figure it out. Like, you can't just go by the seat of your pants all the time. You have to have a strategy that you consistently do. For example, I say the same thing every morning. I didn't used to say the same thing every morning. I slowly developed it. My intro to this video. It's not written down. I just do it. And that's what East is trying to remind us, that sometimes we have to create things that are systematic and that always occur, because that actually does help us out. It frees up some of your thinking so that you can ponder and problem solve some of those even bigger life problems, okay? That's why processes and systems are so important. It's gotten convoluted. It's turned into ways to control. But for you, because you're doing it for yourself, this isn't about control. This is about freeing up brain space so that some things are automatic and you don't have to think about them anymore. And you can go work on other things that you do need to think about and shift, because those take a little more effort. And we've been spending so much time on everything and perceiving that we've got to figure out how to make our lives a little more efficient for us. And the first way is a system so that things become automatic and we can take some deep breaths and we can have some breaks. A really great example of this, just if you need like a life example, long time ago when I had my first son, I used to let him just go until he dropped. And I did that because my husband worked late hours and really needed him to sleep later. And so I let him go until he dropped. And at one point, my mom goes, Crystal, he needs a bedtime. You need an hour after he goes to bed to decompress and do your stuff and be you before he goes to bed. That was a system. I was being considerate for someone else, which was great, but I didn't consider the system that I needed. And so we got the kid a bedtime. I worked out that it was a little bit of a later bedtime. And so I stayed up a little bit later to decompress, to be considerate for my spouse who needed to who needed to be able to sleep a little bit longer. Fortunately, that kid also loved to sleep, so it worked out fine. He still loves to sleep, so it was great. But I needed him to have that bedtime. So that structure was necessary. Like, we feel like we want to be free, but even freedom still has some structure, and it's just so that it can free up your brain. Okay? All right. Oh, we need to talk about the arrows. So the arrow is future and immediate change, and this one is water. Here's the other reason I like processes and systems. They're things that you can count on when you're in an emotional fight or flight situation. They're tried and true. Like, they're not like, they're your comfort. They're your blanket. They're your imaginary blanket. Okay? That's what a system does for you. so that when you're in an emotional time, you rely on that. It keeps you functioning. And that's what keeps you going. So, East, that's what our friend needs today. All right. Last but never least is the remember or watch for card. Okay. This one. Yeah. I feel like this one you need to think about this one. So opportunity to think about. All right, ready? The card is Very. And Very is one of those cards that honestly, it frustrates me. It's necessary in the deck. Like, I like the cards. They're needed. Everything can't be happy, okay? Some stuff has to poke you a little bit to make you think. Not poke you badly, but just poke you to make you think. Hey, pinch, are you still awake? Are you still paying attention? Very is one of those cards. So Very is this reminder from God Universe that we impact everything that we engage with. And so how do you impact it? And if there's something wrong going on, we need to stop and think, how are we increasing? How are we making it worse? How are we making it better if it's better? What is our impact on this? And if you're in kind of a negative situation, like seriously, you need to your mouth because you are the one that's causing the problem right now. That's what this card says. So look at yourself and see, how am I doing this? It's not someone else right now. Sure, they have impacts, but you can't control them. You can only control you. So how are you impacting it? How are you making it worse? How are you making it better? Okay. All right. Flip side to everything. This one is a yellow yield. Thank goodness it's not a toll. It's a freeway. So once we slow down and we think about it, it's going to clear a hurdle, which is great. It's a past and a future. There's probably some crap from the past that is making you have this automatic reaction. Maybe it's an old system that you need to get rid of. And it is a fire. So more than likely, it's something you're very passionate about. And you feel like you've got all the answers. And maybe you don't. Maybe you need to Okay. So think about how you impact this situation. All right. So this is really like, the cards are starting to get really deep for us, friends. Like, so you guys must really be healing some things, and it's time to move to the next levels, because we were doing some of the same stuff and now we're just like kind of pushing into some new territory. I feel like it's slowly saying, I want you to look at everything. Are you still looking? Because we're going to have to change some of these systems coming. I'm really proud of how much you've done so far, but we got some work to do, friend. Okay. So that's Thursday. All right. My suspicion is that it's a very airy sky right now. We're still Gemini sun. And yesterday was Aquarius moon. I don't know if we're still Aquarius moon or if we're Pisces moon. But either way, that's why I'm so yucky all over the place. My Mercury's in Pisces, so I can't help it. Like, it makes me yak. And then when it's in the air, I just can't help it. I'm just very airy. So anyway, so I'm sorry that I was so chatty today. So chatty. But the messages were very beautiful. Okay, so as you're going out there today, please remember, go out there with kindness. We do not know what others are going through. It is Pride Month, and man, our friends have really been struggling. There have been so much hostility out there this year around Pride Month. So please, if you can, just back up everyone. It's just about being a good human friend. Okay. And don't forget mental health awareness. Seriously, I'm not letting that one die. Every month is that. So go out there with kindness, do nice things for other people, and I love you. Mwah. See you tomorrow. Bye.